Chapter 31. I woke several times in the night expecting sirens and aerial engines, but waking was better than sleeping. Sleeping only led to nightmares. I wished I'd thought to stay with Megs. I wished a Nevi would wander by to check on me. I wished Fader still felt safe. In the morning I wasn't even tired. I silently trooped through our morning parade around the grounds. Meg stomped along next to me, knowing something was wrong, but not asking what. I went to the living room with everyone else. I didn't want to see Raynor. Not ever again. Megs, Britt, and Kylen settled into their pages, but I couldn't sit still. I wandered to the bookshelves, sliding out and shoving back every book I touched. The examiner came in, started talking with different children about their work. I watched her move about the room, and I moved too, always as far away as I could get. How could she think her plan of us being a school would work? She doesn't know. That's why you have to tell her. That's what she wants from you, isn't it? My feet marched me over toward her, where she sat speaking softly with Frederica on a couch. They smiled, poring over some information in the pages of a book in Frederica's lap. You locked me up with a murderer, I yelled. They both looked up. Frederica's mouth fell open as the book tumbled to the floor. The room went quiet and still. The one voice that carried on was Hamlin's, reciting a common prayer in Tissian, not praying. Testing the open lines of the morning's first coded transmissions for something every Tissian would know. The examiner picked up Frederica's book and handed it to her. If you'll excuse me, I think Mathilde needs a few minutes of my time. She placed a hand on my shoulder and guided me out of the room. Everyone was looking at me. She steered me along, but we didn't go to her office. Were we going somewhere worse? Was she going to punish me for what I'd said in front of everyone? She didn't take her hand off my shoulder until we were in the kitchen. I'd never been there before. She opened a drawer and took out a spoon, held it up to me. It was an awfully small spoon to be punished with. I'm not going to hit you. Take it. I took it. She led me into a pantry, selected a jar, opened its lid, and set it on the table. We don't have your favorite raspberry glaze. Will raspberry jam do? I stared at her. How? Perhaps Megs didn't tell you I took her directly back with me. We rode the train together. She talked a lot. Megs. She was probably worried. My fist tightened around the spoon. We won't be safe here, if the Tissians come, even if we pretend to be a school. The examiner breathed in and out. I very much want to hear what you have to say, but you need to stop yelling, or I won't understand you. I didn't want to give in and eat the jam, but it shined so pretty red. I dipped my spoon in and had just the littlest bit. It was good. The sugar flowed through me as I licked the spoon clean and set it on the table. Try again. I swallowed. The building in Raynor's paintings. It's a school. He had orders to burn it because the schoolmaster wouldn't conduct lessons the way the Tissians do. It sounds like there were. The examiner looked worried. She never let us see her worried. Why would he do it? I asked. What do you think would have happened to him if he hadn't? He still didn't. No, think about it. But I knew what the answer was. If they were making an example of the schoolmaster, they would have done the same thing to their soldiers. More than anything, Raynor wants to live. He was afraid to defy his orders, to let himself be captured, even though it was dishonorable. He had as much fear from the Tissians as we do. Maybe he'll come around to help us. I closed my eyes. I didn't want to think of Raynor as the victim. He had done awful things. How does he feel about what he did? His crying had been terrible, the most desperate I'd ever heard.